In this next video series, we are going to talk about how to tell if your calves are tight or weak. If you're a runner, you've probably experienced some kind of calf discomfort in your career, so we're going to give you a little bit of insight about why that may be, okay? So first thing we're going to talk about in this video is just the calf musculature, all right? So the first muscle is the soleus, so let me highlight this here. This is the soleus muscle. Okay, so this is the deep calf muscle, and this one is going to go all the way down, and this one is going to, you're going to feel this a little bit lower in the calf, okay, so a little bit more down here. Okay, so then that's the first muscle, and then that one we're going to talk to you about how to strengthen a little bit more specifically in the next video. And then if we add a layer, so if you watch here, I can just add the muscle there. So those two muscles, as you can see, this one here, that's going to be the the medial head of your gastrocnemius, and then this one's going to be the lateral head. So that's what those look like. So that's all one muscle, just with two different heads there. And that one is going to be the more meaty part of your calf muscle. That one you're going to feel a little bit higher up, okay? So in the next video, stay tuned. We're going to tell you how to specifically strengthen each individual calf muscle here that we talked about. All right, so this is the video series of how to tell whether your calves are tight or weak. Okay, so in the last video we covered the calf musculature. Now we're going to tell you how to strengthen those muscles specifically. Okay, so for the gastroc, this is going to be any time where your knee is straight. Okay, so your knee has to be straight in order to strengthen the gastroc muscles. So what you're going to do, this is our favorite calf strengthening one for the gastroc. Get yourself up on a box or a step, hands behind your head. The leg that's down and straight is the one that you're strengthening, and then you're just going to come up onto your toes. And this setup kind of helps you be a little bit taller and not so much leaning forward, how people often do strengthen their calves. So it's a little bit more effective to just be coming straight up and using that one side to do all the work and isolate it. And then to strengthen the soleus muscle, which was that deep one we talked about, it's going to be anything with a bent knee. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do this. You can just sit down and do this. You can put a weight here on your knee to do this. Or if you want to make it a little bit harder, you can come down into like a bridge position. And your knees are still bent, obviously, and then come up like this and do like a soleus bridge strength exercise like this. Hopefully these are helpful. Let us know if you guys try these. Next video in the how to tell if your calves are tight or weak series, we're going to talk about how to stretch each individual calf muscle. So in the last one we did strengthening, this one is stretching. So again, following the same theme as for the strengthening, same thing. So with the gastroc, you need your knee to be straight in order to stretch it, and with the soleus, you need your knee to be bent, okay? So this first one we're going to show you is the gastroc stretch. So you're going to start with one leg kind of just a little bit away from the wall, hands on the wall. The one you're stretching is the straight leg in the back, okay, so make sure the knee is straight. And then what you're gonna do is just kind of lean towards the wall, so kind of move your chest forward, and you should feel that right in that top part of your calf pretty quick when you do this correctly. So you're right here, and you would do this as a prolonged hold because it's a stretch, so maybe 20 to 30 seconds. And then to move that into a soleus stretch, what you're gonna do is just take your hips and you're going to sit your hips back as far as you possibly can. So now the knee is bent. We're still doing the same leg. Send your hips back, and now you should feel this a little bit lower, and that's hitting more of that soleus. Last video in the how to tell if your calves are tight or weak series. So we just covered stretching, strengthening, all of that. Hopefully that was helpful and you guys learned something about the anatomy and how to isolate one muscle versus the other in your calves. So more specifically, when you are running, which I know a lot of runners have calf issues, something to keep in mind is if your calves are weak, it might start to feel like once you're into your run, a certain amount, maybe that's 10 minutes, maybe that's 2 miles, depending on how far you're running and how much you're conditioned. If you're getting into your run and you're starting to feel like with distance or time, your calves start to feel tight, you might think, oh, I need to stretch them, like they feel tight. But that may be just because they're actually weak, right? So I use this analogy a lot with my patients. If you do 1,000 bicep curls, your bicep is probably gonna feel tight, but it's not that I can't lengthen it. It's not that I need to stretch it. It's just that I used it a lot and it wasn't ready for that volume. So just keep that in mind if that's something that you experience throughout your run. If you just go out for a run or you're just walking after a run and your calves feel tight, then maybe you do just need to stretch them. Okay, so that's how to maybe differentiate between the two. Keep in mind that if you were watching some of our previous videos about running form, it is a little bit more ergonomically to your benefit to run more on your toes. So that's going to be very fatiguing for the calf. So if you run more with that, that toe strike or midfoot strike, which is what we're aiming for with running, then that will put more stress on your calves. So if you're new to that running form, that's something that you would want to build in slowly, okay? So like if you're going out for a run and you're going to try out the new form, you would maybe want to just do like a minute at a time, or maybe 30 seconds trying out the new form, and then just go back to a comfortable form and then build up that, that more proper running form as you get stronger, like I said, because your calves aren't necessarily conditioned to handle that amount of stress of that forefoot running. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. Hopefully that was helpful. And if you guys have any specific questions about what's going on with your calves, are they tight, are they weak, and you haven't figured it out from this video series, please reach out to us, text or call, and we would love to help.